Boy.
And then you beat me for losing.
Whoa. All right, folks, we move on. Today is International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, an extremely serious issue that seems to be growing in numbers every time we turn on the news or open the paper. Well, here to tell us what's planned for the day's events, which will start with a silent protest and end with a concert, chair of the events organizing committee, Patrick Lela, and survivor of gender-based violence, Alun and Dombet Asamba. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Smile Jamaica. When you say gender-based violence, Patrick, what are we talking about here?
Well, the term gender-based violence came out of the fact that in the midst of this, although it's International Day against violence against women, we also recognize that there are instances in which women are the perpetrators of violence. Okay. So instead of violence against women, it is gender-based violence, and it's violence directed at any individual on the basis of their gender, basically.
Fair to say that more women are
85% to 15. That is the stats. 85% of women at some point in time in their life experience violence.
I think in my former life,
15% women, men.
We spoke for Uncensored
Many
moons
years
ago.
You know, I was thinking about it this morning, and I'm speaking about this now for 27 years.
But still there are people who are not aware, because you did a recent interview and somebody was
and
like,
people were, what?
Yeah.
Yes. I said that I feel like I'm talking to a third generation, because I'm amazed that even people who I thought had heard me speak on this, and I have spoken about it for so many times, it's almost as if they're hearing it new.
How did you decide you were going to speak out about it? Because usually, I'm sure, Ms. Alun, there was somebody in the air or somebody's in the air saying, do not do that.
It took me 8 years to be able to speak about it. And you know, I had received an award from the Kiwanis Club of New Kingston. They called it at the time the Vive Clico Award, and it's awarded to women who were doing well. And I was nominated on behalf of the other 2 awardees to speak. And during the course of the week before that, there was an incident where a woman had gone to a safe house, and her partner, the man, had discovered where the safe house was and went there and attacked her and the persons who were running the place. It was in the news, but I didn't feel that there was any outrage in the society about it. I really didn't plan to talk about it, but when I got up on that stage, it was what came to me. And you know, it was a room full of probably about 300 people. And my mother, my aunt, my sisters. And when I started to speak, and my mother she knew where I was going. I looked at her because the shame.
You hadn't told her before?
That I was going to speak this?
Did she know it was happening?
She knew. They knew. But they didn't know until after I had sorted out my life. Because I couldn't talk to anybody about it. And she knew where I was going to go when I started. And she said, speak.
That's right. That's freedom.
And I did. So I stepped from behind the podium and I said, look at me. Do I look to you as if I am somebody who has suffered from abuse? I am an abused woman. And let me tell you, the room, you could hear a
pin drop.
Collective gasp. And you could hear a pin drop. And so since then, I have had the opportunity to speak publicly, but probably even more importantly, to speak privately with women and some men who have called me and are still, and every time I do something like this now, I get another wave of calling.
Of course, because there's so many people who are going through it, but there's still shame in talking about it. So that's what you're trying to do, Patrick, is to eliminate that stigma.
And that is what we are trying to do, and that is why for the past 5 years, on this day every year, we have and we continue to look for champions like Ambassador Samba to support the call and to get people to understand that this does not affect any particular subset of the society. It reaches far and wide, and there are spaces that you can come and talk about it. It is not your fault. It is something wrong that is happening to you, and we're trying to help people to speak up and to understand that this should not be happening to you, and there are spaces where you can get help.
Yeah.
Ambassador, you said it took you 8 years to come out. Are you over it?
No. I realize I'm not. Speaking about this, I was on the radio with Dion Jackson Miller on Friday, and
I don't know if it's something you ever get over.
I'm not.
It's something you learn to deal with, but I'm sure...
Well, I thought I had learned to deal with it all these years. As I say, it's 27 years. And I kept asking myself and my counselor, why would this happen to me? And he said, for a reason, and the reason is that you are going to speak about it and help other people. And I remember saying to him, you must be mad. You think in Jamaican society, as small as it is, that I'm going to talk about this. And he said, you are going to talk about it.
And I'm sure you changed many lives. I mean, your strength alone, because you stayed in that situation for 1.5 years.
Yes.
There are folks who stay in that relationship for 10 and 20 years.
Yes.
And end up really, really bruised. And
the children too, you know.
And the children.
And there are a lot of women who stay in the situation.
For the children?
For the children, because they have nowhere to go. But as Patrick says, there are now more spaces.
Yep. We have to go, ma'am. Tell me about the Emancipation Park today.
So this evening we gather at Carter Hall. We gather at 1, distribution of shirts. You'll see hundreds of people wearing these shirts today. And we are hoping to march off at 2. Ambassador Samba will be there. Carter Hall.
It's Holy Cross Church.
Yes. Right. And then we'll march down Balmoral Avenue, up Maxfield, into Halfway Tree, and then we'll head to Emancipation Park, where we culminate with a concert featuring Wayne Marshall, Jermaine Edwards, who I saw performing on this stage this morning, IKEA, Ashe, and many others.
I want to ask you one more question before we go. Ladies who are in the situation Alun was in, she said there are outlets, there are safe houses. Where do they call? Is there a hotline? Is there a...
You can call our offices, the Jamaica Aid Support, at 925-002122, and you will be directed to spaces where you can get help.
Great. Really sorry, Ambassador. Really sorry.
Thank you, but you know, I have to say that when somebody like me talk about it, people will see that it is something that happens in all levels of the society. There was a time when people felt it was only poor women who experienced this, but I know that that is not the truth.
And it's happening in the most unlikely,
quote
unquote.
And some people think it's some men who not educated and stuff.
No, my husband was doing his PhD.
Good to see you.
Every year we do this.
I was already a lawyer for 10 years, and people ask me how you make that happen to you. I didn't make it happen to me.
We need a full education about it, to be honest.
Chair of the silent protest and concert against gender-based violence organizing committee, Patrick Lela, and survivor of gender-based violence, Ambassador Alun Ndombe Asamba.
Ndombe.
Ndombe.
I'm sorry.
It's about time we get a name right. Lots of heavy topics on the show this morning, so let's lighten things up when we come back from the break. We'll be right back with more.